Welcome to the Brandfixx installation guide. Here you'll learn all the correct processes and methods to install our modular vehicle branding kits correctly. Before starting any decommission, it's important to check the vehicle temperature with an accurate gauge. Minimum temperature requirements for decommission are 10 degrees centigrade. When decommissioning a vehicle, it's important to use a non-scratch scraper. Using that, start at an edge and simply peel off the panels. When removing large sections of Brandfixx, it's easier to rock the material up and down rather than try and pull it all off in one straight plane. Rocking the material will also reduce the chance of glue being left behind on the vehicle. If you pull too hard or at the incorrect angle, the material is likely to split, so you're always best off pulling at 90 degrees to the angle that you're pulling. Using an appropriate surface cleaner, apply it to the cloth, not the vehicle, so that it doesn't evaporate instantly. On the basis of dust and debris coming from top down, we need to also clean the vehicle from top down. We're going to make sure we go over every aspect of the vehicle, removing any dirt and grime that may be on there. Another reason why we apply the surface cleaner to the cloth and not the van is because it is classed as a harmful product, so we reduce exposure to it. Once you've sufficiently cleaned the vehicle, it's important to test the grip of the paint and make sure that you've got some levels of tackiness. Some coatings can affect this, such as ceramic coats or any waxing, so it's important with a clean hand to make sure that you get a nice squeak from the vehicle. If you feel the paintwork may be compromised in any areas, using a sacrificial piece of material, place over the corner of a curve and pull back to check that the paintwork isn't damaged. As part of the pre-installation checks, you need to take photos of every angle of the vehicle and specifically any areas that may be damaged. This can then be uploaded to our pre-installation check online. To effectively install one of our kits, you will need a table for rolling out the graphic kit before each fitting, a suitable hot-up step allowing you to reach the top of the vehicle, a suitable cleaning product, isopropyl based, a high-quality adhesive remover, medium firm squeegee with a felt wing and a Teflon wing, a backing slitter. This should have a Teflon guide, non-scratch scraper for effective decommissioning of vehicles to ensure a clean surface, masking tape, 18mm and or 25mm, magnets, vital to the application of Brandfixx kit, at least 50 to be able to successfully apply the kit. Thermometer to ensure that the vehicle is at the correct temperature before either application or decommission of vehicle graphics. Microfiber cloth to properly clean and prepare a dust-free surface ready for application. When you receive your Brandfixx kits, they'll come in 3 boxes for a normal size van, offside, near side, front and rear in the same box. Inside your box, the visual should be on the top of the roll. Place this up on the van so that you can refer to it when you're checking off your pieces. Using the foam packaging, roll it out on your table for preparation to check the pieces off. The numbers are printed on the piece, 129 shown, tick it off on the visual. The next step is to load the magnets onto the vehicle so that they're ready for when you need to apply the graphics to the vehicle. To start pinning the panels on the vehicle, the best thing to do is find the best fixed point to start building from. So in this case, we're going to use the door panel because it has the key and the door handle as a good reference point to start from. Key things to look out for is the gap spacing to make sure it's even the whole way around. We're not looking for a specific measurement, we're looking for an even gap the whole way around the key and the door handle. Using the previous panel that's been pinned up as a reference, fit around it and build outwards from that first panel, which has been based on a reference point on the vehicle. In areas that aren't metallized, you'll need to use tape rather than magnets, so to help yourself out, preload an area with tape ready for the application of the graphics. Any small parts are usually stuck onto a main piece, so keep an eye out for these when opening the kit. So now the whole side is pinned, we're going to go around adjusting each panel to ensure the gaps are evenly spaced across the whole side of the vehicle. As you can see, the top left of this panel is slightly tighter than the top right, So we're going to now remove the magnets and tweak the panel until the gaps are even. This will have a knock-on effect on the other panels, so once you've amended one, you need to recheck the surrounding panels. Another thing to look out for when doing this is to ensure the artwork lines up nicely with each of the surrounding panels, not just the gap fitment. When checking the panels, it's important to push the material into the areas that it will roll into, as this can affect the gaps. As you can see, it's vital that you pin the whole side of the vehicle before applying any part of the kit, because if one bit's wrong, you can't change it. Pinning up should take approximately 15 to 25 minutes, depending on your experience with Brandfixx kits. This is an example of an incorrectly spaced piece, tight at the bottom and big gap at the top. So this part of the process is called hinging, so none of the pieces of the Brandfixx kit are applied without a hinge or a magnet, whether that's through tape or magnets. So the next stage of the fitment is to hinge anything that is possible to hinge. That involves masking tape going over and then running your nail down the edge of it to make sure that that piece won't move when you remove the backing paper. It's always important to stop short of the edge of that material so that it doesn't obstruct the piece folding back when you do take the backing off. For speed and efficiency, it's always good to try and get two panels with one piece of tape so you can go left and right of it or up and down a bit, as you can see on the panels below. So now we've taped the top sections, we can relieve those magnets and start using them to center hinge the pieces that were not top or side hinging with masking tape. So when you peel the material away from the vehicle, it's always good to double check that no dust or contaminants have landed in between the material and the van. And we're going to hold the material as flat to the van as possible without it landing on it, starting off with the leading edge of the piece being placed down onto the vehicle. The key with long thin bits is not to get too much of the squeegee involved initially, just the first tack. When using the squeegee, it's important to hold it at an angle to allow the air to escape as you run it across the length of the material. If you look closely, you can do the opposite of holding it at a really steep angle. So that's a nice shallow one. Dave will now demonstrate a really steep one to show you what not to do. One technique you can do is to use the backing paper to hold the material away from the van nicely for you. So don't remove the whole thing, and you can use it with minimal tension to keep it away from the van. So this is a really steep angle and what is needed to be avoided because it won't allow air to escape quick enough, causing fingering and bubbles. The shallow angle is a much better approach, such as this. When removing the masking tape, it's important to double check your edges around every section, whether it had tape on or not. This is to ensure that the edges are fully down, because as we don't use heat guns to apply the Brandfixx material, it's really important to use pressure to put the glue down rather than heat. We use the magnets to create the centre hinge, peel the top half back, use the backing slitter to remove the top half of the backing, and then work from the middle upwards. And this is too steep an angle of the squeegee to put this on correctly. To ensure that you don't finger the material or create unnecessary air bubbles, a shallow angle is much better for the application of the product. It's also important not to pull the material too tight with your left hand, as this creates this effect. Sections like these, which are complex curves, in other words, a curve in one direction and another one going in the other direction, are vital to find the straightest point and get it taped for as long as you can before it starts to curve. From that, you'll work from the masking tape inwards, getting the centre line on, and then you'll run down the centre of the panel towards the end, because this is a 3D product, and work from the middle outwards to ensure that it fits correctly. On longer sections, which are long and thin, it's really important to avoid stretching the material at all, so we have to lay it exactly as it lies. The key to this on this particular one is hinging the longest, straightest section, getting that bit on first, and then gradually tacking the material on as you work the way down. On this vehicle, on the two panels you can see there's a recess that runs just below the gap with the masking tape line. You've got two options of how you could apply these panels, either the centre hinge as shown on the left, or the top hinge as shown on the right. The key and the most important bit with Brandfixx in comparison to wrapping is that we don't bridge any sections where the vehicle body rolls away from the material. So on the left, you'll be working from the middle upwards and pushing it into the recess, and on the right option of the top hinge, you'll be working down, pushing into the recess from the top, working down. We do not bridge, we don't heat, everything is pushed into the recesses. So with a section like this that goes up over a curb and along over the top of a handle, you're best off back in slitting the area over the top of the handle, fitting the flattest part first, moving across the width of it and then rolling it all in at the end. Pieces. Obviously it's plastic, so we can't use magnets. You need to preload an area with tape to make your life easier, as shown here on the headlight. And then, as with all the rest of the panels, start with a nice obvious piece, align the gaps nice and evenly using the tape. One of the key elements of taping the bumper pieces is to think about where the next piece is going to land and not taping your previous piece in the way of the next one, because when you have to adjust it, it'll be a pain in the backside. So the key to all bumper pieces is to find the best fixed straight point without a curve and work from the centre outwards from that fixed hinge with tape. So after the install of the graphics, it's important to go around all of the edges and check that they're down properly, because we don't use heat guns to install the graphics, so the only areas that can fail are the edges if the glue isn't compressed. Once you've checked all your edges, it's then important to go around all of the graphics, removing the dry white pen with the surface cleaner that you clean the vehicle with. It's also very important to go over the whole panel, because some of the numbers, being dark, are quite hard to see and therefore could be missed, so the whole panel needs cleaning. In the kit, you'll get the power washing guide with the correct kit number on it. That refers back to any sections of damaged livery. It's important to install this within the door area of the vehicle. Do not forget it, it will be in one of the top of the boxes. Also in the box, you will get the Brandfixx graphic. This needs placing in the bottom right of the rear of the vehicle. Once installation has been completed, it's important to take photos of both sides of the vehicle, front and rear, and then upload them to our post-installation app. Once you've taken your pictures, click on your post-installation option on the Brandfixx site, upload your pictures, give the vehicle a rating out of 1 to 5 on fit for kits, and send it in.